Hello! I'm Amanda from Designs by Amanda K, and today I'm back with another brush pen review. This time I'm talking about the Tombow Dual Brush Tip Pens. They have a brush on one side and a felt bullet tip on the other. These are very popular brush pens with both beginner, hand letters, and intermediates, and advanced, and a really popular choice for illustrators too. Okay, let's dive into the review. The Tombow Dual Brush Tip Pens are actually the first brush pens that I ever purchased to learn brush lettering. This has been a couple of years ago, so I've had some experience with these pens, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like, and just kind of go over the basics of these brush pens. One side is a felt bullet tip that's great for finer details, and then the other end is a large felt brush tip. So the tip is tapered and it's flexible, which makes it great for getting thicker downstrokes and thinner upstrokes. So you just apply a little bit of pressure on the downstrokes and then lift up that pressure for your upstrokes. Since the tip is flexible, it's easy to get the thin upstrokes, and you can put a lot of pressure on it if you're a beginner, and the tip will still bounce back to its normal shape. The tips are also self-cleaning, so you can mix colors directly together without permanently ruining them. So, if you had the Crayola markers when you were a kid and you would maybe use the yellow and you accidentally went over like brown or something darker, it would not necessarily ruin the marker, but you would have that brown or darker spot on it. Well, the Tombows are actually made to do that, and the tips are self-cleaning, so you don't have to worry about blending two colors together and losing your lighter color. One big downside to the Tombow dual brush pens is that the tips will fray very easily, and if you aren't using a smooth paper, the tips will start fraying almost immediately. Let's look at the difference between a new brush tip and a frayed brush tip. You can see that with the frayed, the tip starts to look a little worn and kind of a little jagged, whereas the new ones, they're just tapered and real sharp at the end. With the frayed tip, you can see that you don't get those nice crisp lines as you do with the new tip. So the transitions can sometimes look a little shaky, and even the upstrokes can look shaky and uneven. The frayed tips are also a lot harder to control because they have so much more bend in them from being used over and over. The elasticity kind of starts to wear out in them, so they don't snap back as quickly. So this is a really good demonstration as to why using the right paper with your brush markers really does matter, especially these Tombows, because they're a little more sensitive, but they're not the only ones. I have other pens that I've used on the wrong paper that have frayed as well. Okay, so let's talk about the colors and the ink in these Tombow brush pens. So there's tons of different colors. I actually have the Galaxy set out that I'll be demonstrating and doing some swatching of, but they come in almost an endless array of colors, and Tombow is always adding more. The colors are pretty vibrant and saturated, but what I love most is that the marker pen cap actually matches pretty closely with the actual color you get. I have some other brush pens that I really like using, but sometimes it's a little frustrating because the colors are so off from the pen cap. So that's one thing that I really like. It's about the Tombows. It's a really small thing, but I really like that. I know what color I'm getting when I reach for it. The ink in the Tombows is water-based, so that means that they are really good for blending. So you can blend two different colors together. You can use a water brush to blend colors together. I will leave a link to another video that I have where I show you how to do that. I actually use a water brush, or you can use water and a paintbrush, and you can blend the different colors together and get a watercolor effect. Every pack also comes with a colorless blender marker, and it's just a blank marker, but you can use those to blend together as well. Now there's several different ways you can use those colorless blenders, which I will go over more in depth in an upcoming video. One downfall to the water-based ink is if you are using the Tombows or another water-based marker to make a background and then you plan to letter over it in black ink. If you don't use an archival ink pen like a Faber-Castell or a Micron, those inks might bleed into the water-based ink of the Tombows on the background. So it's just something to keep in mind. The price point for Tombows can vary a little bit. I think regular price online and even in the store in like Michael's or any art store, they're gonna run about $26 for a 10 pack, which is about $2.60, I guess, for a pen. I have actually started seeing them in Walmart. They're only in 6-packs, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the price point is a little bit lower. I actually wait until I can find a sale where they're about $15 up for a pack of 10. That's what I consider a good price. A great price would be about $12 for a 10 pack. And sometimes if you stack coupons at Michael's, you can get that price. Okay, so in summary, the Tombow Dual Brush Tip Pens are a great pen for a beginner because the tip is really flexible, but it's elastic enough that it bounces back to its original shape. They're on the more inexpensive side compared to other brush pens. I mean, they can still be expensive if you don't have a huge budget to work with, but compared to other brush pens, they are a little bit more inexpensive. There's an endless possibility of colors to choose from, and they come with the bullet tip, which is great for finer details, cleaning up any transitions or downstrokes, and also they're great for writing in a bullet journal. They don't bleed. They do ghost a little bit if you have a thinner paper, but for the most part they work great for bullet journals. I'd say the biggest downside of the Tombow Dual Brush Pens are that the tips fray very quickly if used on the wrong paper. So make sure you pick up a smooth paper, like the HP Premium 32 paper. That's the one I use the most for just like practice lettering, or a Rhodia pad like what I'm using here. Okay, so that's my honest review of the Tombow Dual Brush Tip Pens. The brush pens I'll be reviewing next are the Artist's Loft watercolor markers. They're very similar to the Tombow Dual Brush Pens, so I will be doing that review and giving a little comparison between the two markers too. So you'll want to make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you like these reviews or you have a pen you'd like me to review, leave me a comment and let me know so I can add that to my list of pens to try out and review. Okay, so that's it for today. See you next time.